Hello, guys, and welcome everyone to the sixth and the last session of the Android Study Jams 2020, currently being organized remotely by our chapter DSC BVP Pune. So, today's topics are lists, packages, and RecyclerView. So, we are going to learn about these, okay, by making an Affirmations app. So, let's quickly see a basic overview. So this is our today's schedule. This is not a very lengthy schedule as we are, having. So the first is preparing. Second one is the UI part. Then third is logic, and the fourth section is polishing our user experience. Okay, so it's divided in 5 minutes, 12 minutes, 26, and 12. Okay, so there's a new unit added recently by the Android developers training team in the new to programming track. So I won't be covering these, but you should definitely move on to this one after completing the second unit. So these are the basics of navigation, and you should definitely check it out if you want to develop more sound apps. Okay. Now, definitely with new and fresh unit comes fresh and new set of badges for your developer profiles. So go ahead, complete the unit, earn them, and then showcase them on your developer profile. Okay. So just wait a second. Just a second. I need to see if the images are good. Yeah, now they are. Okay. So this is the Affirmations app, and you can see the layout and the blueprint of the Affirmations app I was talking about earlier. So it consists of a recycler view and a frame layout to display a scrollable list of images and text views. Different view holders and a recycler view adapter is involved in this app. So kindly pay a little more attention than usual so you don't get stuck anywhere. Some code of prior to programming track also is involved in this, so but you don't have to worry about it because we cover everything up and we don't go into more deep details than the surface, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so without further ado, let's see how it's built by first moving to our first section, which is preparing. Okay, so in this section we add some resources, so let's quickly see. Okay, so we will start from creating a new Android project as an empty activity, and then we're going to name it as Affirmations app or just Affirmations. Okay, and then we'll keep the minimum SDK to, we can keep it to 23 or we can increase it to 24 or 25. So we'll keep it to 23 for now, and then click finish. And here is our new Android project ready to be built. Okay, so here is our main activity main.xml. So before jumping on to the UI section, We will first add some strings. As you have seen in the presentation, we will add some strings, text, and we will add some images. Okay, so the Gradle is building the project. It will take some time. Now, as you can see, these are the strings here, the resources. We will access these strings in form of lists. Okay, so we will create a data class, and then we will create a resource class or source class, and then the data source class will give access to the our data class, and then we will call the data class in our recycler view to list each item in that view. Okay, so here is our npt activity, and let's just add some strings. Okay, so head on to res values strings.xml, the default app name. The app name is already here, so we will just copy our strings. Okay, the strings are here. The affirmation 1, affirmation 2, these are the ID of the strings that we will call. Okay, so the strings are added. Now we can move on to adding images. Okay, so you have to go into the code lab and find the image link. I've already downloaded the images. So if we open one image, let's say this is the image. Okay, so we will be displaying these images above our text view. Okay, so let's just copy the images. You don't have to go into your app folder to copy it. You just this is the drawable folder. The images will be placed here, so you can just select all the images and just drag it, or just press Ctrl C here and then Ctrl V on the folder. So okay, so we will go ahead and extract it from here. So we can open desktop, sample Android projects. Actually, I've already built one affirmation app, so it's renamed to Affirmations 2, the new app. So in apps, source, main, res, Android directories are really deep, and then in drawable. Okay, then we can close it, and as you can see, the images are updated here. You can see them in the Android Studio as well. Okay, so let's move on to the UI section. Okay, so let's move on to building the UI, which is the recycler view itself, embedded in a frame layout. So let's see how it's done. Okay, so let's just first see that what is a recycler view. Okay, in Android. So a recycler view is a view that consists 4 types of subdivisions in it. Okay, so as you can see here in the list, first one is the item, the actual item in the list that you are giving the recycler view to display. Okay, this is the item. Then there consists of an adapter. Okay, an adapter takes data and prepares it for recycler view to display. Okay, third is view holders. So recycler views is basically a scroll view. Okay, so if you scroll down a recycler view, the view holders that are already present for the recycler view, so those groups of views are automatically created and then reused by the recycler view to display the affirmations what we are trying to display. And then there is the parent recycler view, which displays our items on the screen. So the main difference between the scroll view and the recycler view is the scroll view keeps every view in the memory. Okay, so let's suppose we have like 250 views. Okay, so the 250 views, it can consist of image, it can consist of text view. Those all views will be loaded in the memory, you know uh, all the views will be loaded in the memory at once, so it can create uh, memory hogging and some primary memory problems. So what recycler view eliminates is it can reuse the views and the view holders for the items that are scrolled past the screen, okay, that are not visible to the user. So it can deallocate the resources from that views, okay, and then reallocate them to the new views that are coming to the user view as the user scrolls through the recycler view. This is the main difference. Okay, let's just create a layout and then add a recycler view in it. We will use a frame layout. Okay, we are not using a constraint layout because we are not constraining anything in the layout. So a frame layout is the bare minimum we have to need for the recycler view. Okay, so let's just go ahead and delete the text view, even delete the constraint layout. Okay, okay, so let's just go ahead and delete this constraint layout and change it to the bare minimum frame layout. Every setting will remain the same, and in the design pane you can see the frame layout here, and then we will drag the recycler view onto the frame layout like this. Okay, and then the code you can automatically see Android x.recyclerView widget.recyclerView with the layout width to match parent and the height to match parent. Okay. Now what we want to do is add some settings in it. Okay, so first setting we will use is the layout manager. How actually the recycler view scrolls through the items. So first we will add app, see all the recycler view options here. Okay, so first we will use the layout manager, and we will use the linear layout manager. Okay, so linear layout manager, Android x.recyclerview.widget.linear layout manager. Then we can use what you can say scroll bars. Okay, so as the views are scrolling, you have to use a scroll bar because that will indicate the user how far he is in the views actually. So the scroll bars are of Android reference, which scroll bars of course vertical because we are creating a linear vertical recycler view. And then it will look something like this. Okay. The design will be the same, and you can just barely see the Android layout designer shows us how our items will look in our view. Okay, so this is just a hint. Now what we will do is we have to create another another layout for our items. Okay, so we can't add the items in our activity main.xml. We have to change it. So let's just go ahead and create another layout. Okay, so in layouts, let's just create new layout resource file, and let's just name it like item view dot XML. Okay. This is the basic item view. Here we are using constraint layout. So actually we don't have to use the constraint layout. And so we'll go ahead and change the constraint layout, okay, to a linear layout. So what we are trying to do is this. So this is our linear layout. The first child view will be image view. The second child view will be text view. Okay. So let's just go ahead and make it a simple linear layout. Okay. Now layout width match parent, layout height match parent. We can set the orientation also. Orientation vertical course. Then we can go ahead and add a text view in it. So let's just go into design and just first we can drag and drop an image view, and then we can drag and drop a text view. So let's just first drag and drop a text view. It will ask for text, sorry, image. So yeah, okay. We can, if we drag and drop the image view here, default is the avatars, images, okay. So let's just select one drawable here, okay, and then a text view, okay, underneath it. Now what we want to do is delete this source compact here, okay. Let's just set the ID to item image, set the text view ID to item title, because that will be the title of our image, okay. Now the linear layout is matching parent, okay. So what we have to do is change it to wrap content here. So just change it to wrap content, and the height also to wrap the content. Android text, no, we don't want it. The image should also wrap the content. Now we have to do some modifications in our image view, okay. So these two, the Android important for accessibility and the scale type. The first one tells Android framework that this image can be used for screen readers, but as this image is purely for decorative purposes, we can set the accessibility flag to no, and the scale type to center crop, so our image fits perfectly in our linear layout. So that's exactly what we want to do. Okay, so as these flags are set, our item view is ready. Let's see some warnings here. The tag and its children can be replaced by one and a compound drawable. Missing content description. So these are just normal, okay. Okay, now as you can see here, the layout width of the image view and the height is wrapping the content. So the images can be any size, okay. So if you wrap the content, let's say just one image is 200 dp, another image is 100 dp, so it will create some inconsistency, okay, in our view layouts. So what we want to do is set the layout width to match parent actually, and the layout height to some specific layout height. So let's just say we are setting it to 200 dB. Okay. And let's just also adjust our linear layout to actually match the parent, the width. Okay. So now as you can see, there is an image view and then there is a text view. Okay. Now our UI part is done. Now we can move on to the actual logic part. So how we can add the recycler view adapters, and how we can call the data from the data source and the data class in our adapter, and then pass the adapters data source to our actual recycler view to display a list of image and text views. Okay, now let's see how to add the logic of adapters and view holders for our Affirmations app, so we can efficiently scroll through our list of images and text views. And let's see how to really implement the logic behind the recycler view. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to create a data class and then a data resource class. Okay, so the data resource class will pick up the data from our values strings.xml and then pass it on to the data class, and then we will access the data resource class to display the images in form of recycler view adapters in our actual view. Okay, so we have to create a new package in this com.example.affirmations app. So you can create a package to diversify code to easily maintain it. Let's just right click it on it and then just select new and package. Inside our model package, we are going to create a new Kotlin class file which is named as affirmation. Okay, or we can call it affirmations also. So affirmation. Now let's make it a data class. So data class affirmation, and what we want to do is create a constructor here, default constructor, and passing string resource ID. Okay, as int. So this will reference our strings of our data class, and then we will simply delete our body because this class is just needed to access our strings and our images. Okay, so this is only for string. Now what we are going to do is add for the images also. So let's just add another value which is for image res id int. Okay, so we have two values in our default constructor for the class affirmation, which the both of them are integers. So how can we differentiate between them? Okay, so let's just say a developer makes some mistake and passes like some value like 2 to the string value and 1 to the image value, while he wanted to pass 1 to the string value and 2 to the image value. So it will create some discrepancies. So to overcome those discrepancies, we will use what's called resource annotations. So how to use the resource annotations? Just using add. Okay, so this is what? This is a string resource. Okay, see, string res, and this is a image or drawable. So yeah, this is the drawable. Yeah, drawable res. So these are called the resource annotations, the Android X dot annotation. These will help to separate the string resource ID from the image resource ID, which are both integers. Okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make a separate package, and then we are going to store our data resource class in our separate package. So let's just create a new package named data. Okay, so this will hold our data. Create a new Kotlin class file with name data source. Now this class will hold our actual list, and it will return. It will hold a method that will return our actual list of affirmations, strings, and images. So now inside this data source class, what we can do is we can create a function with name like see like this: load affirmations, which returns a list of affirmation values. Okay, so load affirmations, which returns a list of affirmations, and then we will return here list of affirmation. Okay, here. Now here we will define or calls to the affirmation model class. Okay, see here. Okay. R is not imported, so let's just import it also. Import form dot example dot affirmations dot R. Okay, the resource file, and as you can see, everything is okay here. Now what we have to do is the real part. Okay, the data part is completed, everything is good. Now what we want to do is create an adapter for the RecyclerView, so that we can actually show into our app. Okay, so before creating an item adapter class, I want to tell you that these code are not included in this new to programming track. These are from the prior to programming experience track, the more advanced track. Okay, so don't get too complicated with that. It's just a boilerplate code, so we have to just understand how it works. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is go to our package directory and create a new package again with the name of adapter. Okay, and then in that, first we are going to create a new item adapter Kotlin class file. So item adapter. Okay, now here is where the fun begins. Okay, so here we will first create a private val data set of list of the affirmations. Okay, so private val data set list, and what list? Affirmations. Okay, now we're going to also pass a context to that item adapter, so it knows that from which context we are referencing the adapter. Okay, So going to create a context also, import the context also. Now we are going to use a functionality in Kotlin which is known as nested classes. Okay, nested classes, again, these are some advanced methods, but just understand how it works. So I will explain you step by step. First, just create a class inside another class. This is called an item view holder. Okay, so remember how I told that a view holder holds some views which are actually displaying on your screen, and as you scroll past your screen, the views, the resources of those views are deallocated and then reallocated to the upcoming views which are going to come to your screen so the user can see. So this is an item view holder class. We are going to pass a view to it. Okay, as its default constructor. So private val view as view. Okay, import it also. Okay, now see here. Now here we are going to pass the text view which we are going to find from our item title ID. Okay, so let's not waste time by typing this and import everything. Now this is our item view holder class. Okay, now we are going to override some adapter methods by using a class called RecyclerView. Okay, and from the RecyclerView.adapter we are going to override some methods. So let's first extend the RecyclerView class. So RecyclerView first dot adapter. Okay, and then in adapter we are going to pass item adapter dot item view holder. Okay, as a type. So item adapter dot item view holder, it's passed as a type and the parenthesis. Okay, now it's of course going to show some errors. So the first one here is type argument is not within its bounds, and the second one is class item adapter is not abstract, does not implement abstract based class member. Okay, so we're going to do just that. Now what you're going to do is override some abstract methods. Okay, so place your cursor here and plus Control I. This will show you all the methods that are to be overridden. Select every method. Okay, and then click OK. Now as you can see, there are some to-dos generated, and these are our methods: on create view holder, on bind view holder, and then get item count. So besides these two, this is the most easy one, get item count. So here you're going to return number of items in the list. Okay, now we want to also extend RecyclerView dot view holder class also. So our item view holder can use its properties and methods. So RecyclerView dot view holder. Okay, and then we are going to pass the existing view to here. Okay, Okay, now every error is gone and everything is good. Let's see what each of these methods do. So this is the easiest one. It just get item count. It gets the item count. Now on create view holder and on bind view holder. Let me just jump onto the code lab and here. The on create view holder method is called by the layout manager to create new view holders for the recycler view when there are no existing view holders that can be reused. See, remember that view holder represents a single item in the view. And then there is on bind view holder. So the last method you need to override is bind view holder. The method is called by the layout manager in order to replace the contents of a list item view. Okay. So as some data changes, let's say we change the text or the image is updated to another image, this function will be called. Okay. And it will change the item which is in our list with the current item or the new item. Okay. So these are the difference between the methods that are to be overridden. So let's just remove the body here. So what will this do? This will return an int value to the get item function. So this is a short form to return the value. The long form is like this. You create a body and then write return dataset.site. Okay. Now what we want to do is implement the on create view holder. Okay. When the views will be created when no other views are left for our recycler view. Okay. So first what we want to do is create an adapter layout. So I just create an adapter layout and inflate it. Okay. So we will inflate using layout inflator dot from context. Sorry, parent dot context. Why we are using parent? Because we are going to initialize the view holder using this RecyclerView view holder, the context from the parent class, which is the RecyclerView. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we are going to inflate it for the list item. See, here we go. So the list item is not present here because we have another name for it. We have the name item view. Okay. Parent attached to root false. Okay. These are some properties which you need to pass in to the layout inflator. Okay. And you don't have to worry about them. And then we are going to return a copy of the item view holder with the adapter layout. See, so return item view holder with the adapter layout. Okay. This will inflate our layout for the recycler view. Now the last thing is to override and implement this on bind view holder. Okay. We are going to get a specific item in our data set. So the position, see here, the position is present, the position property. Now we have our item, okay, which we want to change. Then what we want to do is actually change it. So here what we are going to do, see, folder.textView.text. Here we are going to assign the text and the images to our layout in the recycler view. Okay, so it can display it. Item dot strless id. Okay, and then for images, folder dot this is so it shows an error for image view because we haven't created the image view in our item view folder. Okay, so let's just create an image view quickly. Image view is equal to view dot find view by id r dot id dot item image. Okay, this creates an image view for us, and we then just assign the image. So image view dot set image resource, we get it by context, I guess. Now the item dot imageless id, there you go. This will set our image, this will set our text. Okay. Okay, now everything is done. By pressing Ctrl Alt L, just you can reformat the code. See, it's perfectly reformatted now. Let's see the warnings here. Typo in the word dataset, no problem. This again, private value. Constructor parameter is never used as a property. You know, we can go ahead and make some changes according to our linter. Okay, class item adapter is never used, so yeah, of course we are going to use it in our I guess main activity. Okay, okay, let's just add our item adapter in our main activity. Okay, so we can see the actual things. Okay, first we are going to declare is our data source. Okay, so that we can use it. So well, my data set data source dot load affirmations. Yeah, in the on create method, yes, of course. So let's just there is no import here, so let's just import it. Okay. Import on dot affirmations dot data dot data source here. Okay, all data source is present. Now we are going to do is find our recycler view. Okay, recycler view, import r.id.recyclerView. Let's say what is our id. Oh, we haven't named it yet. Okay, let's set an id. Android id recycler. Okay, the id is set. Let's see, recycler view, very good. Now what we are going to do is we are going to define the adapter, and we can import our item adapter also. We are going to pass the context, of course, and then our data set, which is my data set. Okay, now then we are going to set a property which is called set has fixed size. Okay, so we know that our images are of specific width, so we have to set a fixed size for this, so our layout doesn't expand to match the whole parent height. So one item will be displayed at one time when you can set it to false. Now, as you can see, this is it for the main activity.kotlin. Now let's just go ahead and run this to see how it's looking. Some of these are boilerplates, so these are just overriding functions and methods. You can just understand how these work and you will be good to go. Okay, you can use RecyclerView for any of your app. Every Android app uses RecyclerView, okay, instead of ScrollView, because they have to get some data from the internet and then they have to show it, and the data regularly changes, and for changing data, RecyclerView is perfect. But it's also perfect to hold large length of images, data, and more assets, and the Android framework can show them efficiently. Okay, see, our app looks good. This is the text, this is the image. The emulator speed is very slow because of course it's an emulation of the Android device. But if you run this app in your own physical Android device, you will see the performance difference. Okay, so our app is now complete. What is left is we are going to use cards, material cards, for this app to display the text and the image inside the material cards app. So our card will have some shadow in the background, and we are going to set some margin above, below, and left and right to the text view. We can make it bold also. We can change the theme of the app, so we're going to do that. Okay, so let's move on to polishing our user experience with material cards. Okay, let's make our UI more polished, okay, and our experience much better. So let's see what we can do with this text. Okay, so this text currently has zero margin from the left, the top, and the bottom, and it's not very large. So let's make it large, and let's make it a little bit more good. So let's just say we can select the default text size to let's say 18 sp. Text color can remain same, and we can also change the text appearance to material headline 6. So here, yep. Now if we refresh our app, so you will see the text has become more good. The font family is sans serif medium. We can add open sans here. So let's just go quickly to download and create an open sans. We can choose regular also, or we can choose semi bold. Regular will be okay, add font to the project. I think it takes some time to appear here because Android Studio doesn't automatically show it. We can also change it from the here actually, font family. Let's just, yeah, open sans, okay. Refresh the app. Now our text is bigger and everything is good. Now what we are going to do is we are going to give some, I guess, padding. Okay. So let's say we give 16 dp of padding. We have 16 dp of padding. Let's just restart the app, not refresh it because we have added a new font in our project. Okay, and yeah, there you go. This looks much good. Okay, and for more emphasis on the font, I think we can select bold. Let's see. Applying changes. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add material cards in our app. Okay. So let's see how we can do that. Let's go into code and our image view and text view, and this is our linear layout. Okay. So we will wrap the linear layout in the material card view. Okay. And we'll set the layout margin to 8 dB, and you can set it according to your needs. We're going to set it to 8 dB. Okay. So let's just copy this, paste. We're not going to need it here. Remove it. And Control Alt L. Everything is formatted perfectly. Now let's see what happens if we, let's say, refresh the app. See, you have nice rounded corners around the edges, some shadow you can see here. Barely you can see. You can also adjust the shadow here. So our app is actually very ready. Okay, so let's just adjust it for more elevation. So select the material card view here, and you can select the card background color, card corner radius, content padding. Card elevation is of 1 dB. Okay, so you can select it and make it like 2 dB, so it reflects more. You can also see the layout here. So let's just, I think, make it 4 dB, so it elevates more, and the emphasis is more on the cards. Okay, now you can see the cards well. Okay, so our app is ready. Now last of the things are, we can choose between the themes. We can alter different themes in our app. We can add more colors to our themes. We can add dark mode support also. See, if we change to the dark theme, the app's color theme changes also. So let's see in this emulator if the dark mode is available. Battery saver auto rotate. Okay, let's see if we just go in the settings and quickly turn on the dark mode. Notifications. Dark theme, okay. If we enable this dark theme here, let's see what difference it makes to our app. Yeah, see, the header bar here turns black. These cards reflect now more because they have a gray background, and this your whole app has a black theme, and the text is white also. So this is how your app looks in the dark mode. So you can modify different themes according to different modes, like dark mode, or some versions of Android, or we can say some flavors of Android, like gray theme or AMOLED theme. So you can modify it for different themes as well. Let's just go into our app, and I'm going to show you one last thing, and how you can change your app's icon. Okay, so let's just change the app icon. These are the icon files. This is the foreground, this is the background. Okay. What we can do is we can create an adaptive icon with using these. Okay, so you can see here is the foreground, this is the background. Go into the res, the drawable, and see here, this is the foreground, this is the background. What we can do is we can actually copy the code of this foreground and paste this here. See, then we can copy the code of our background and paste them here. See, now this becomes our foreground and this becomes our background. Okay, now if we stop this app and then compile and run this again, I think it should actually change the icon. Okay, this is our app. Let's just go into the drawer and see, Affirmations icon has changed. Okay, this was our GST calculators icon. Okay, so there you go, guys. We have polished the UI of the apps, and we have used the card view of the material framework, and this is how you can use the recycler view in your apps. It's not very difficult, it's easy. We have created a separate data source because we are not taking the data you're downloading from the internet. This is downloading the data from the internet or any image is part of the prior to programming experience track. So if you want to go ahead and really deep dive into it, you can just head on to the prior to programming experience code labs and learn from there. Okay, so you can leave any doubts or queries in the comment section, and this is the end of the unit 2. So the two pathways we have covered are taking user input, and the second is display a scrollable list using RecyclerView. But there is always more than meets the eye. So new units are constantly being added in this track. So make sure you cover those also for full Android development experience. Let's have a quick look back about what we learned and created in this unit. So we built a GST calculator app, and while building it, we looked into more advanced layouts, scroll view, radio groups, radio buttons, material text input layout, and the types of input it can take, view binding, number formatting, and how actually it can be done in Kotlin. Different types of checks like null checks and other checks for testing or and debugging our app. We adopted good coding practices for a more performative and beautiful looking app. We learned about adaptive icons and how to implement and add them. We created a more polished user experience for app. And in the second pathway, we built an Affirmations app. And while building the Affirmations app, we learned about lists in Kotlin, different types of lists like mutable lists and the default lists, looping through the lists also. We learned about packages and how to organize our code in different packages. We created a separate data class and a data source class for our database and strings. We learned and added a recycler view in the app. We learned about different view holders and adapters. We overridden complex methods to implement the recycler view logic, polished the UI by adding material cards and added an adaptive icon to the app. Okay, so you can continue learning by checking out these additional resources. I have added the Google Drive link and the GitHub link in the description box. So make sure to check this presentation and the app that we have built along our pathways. So this is it, and thank you those who have tuned in for this session. This was the last session of Android Study Jams 2020 before everything wraps up on 25th of January. It was a fun ride making these sessions happen, and I can be back soon unofficially with more of these units if the time permits. Keep practicing by making your own simple, fun, and helpful apps, and don't forget to apply for the DSC Solutions Challenge. I remind you, which is happening this year, so make sure to check it out and follow us on different social media handles. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any further live stream and updates. So thank you and goodbye.